Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. I took Sunday off, spent a little bit of time with the family, and I hope you guys had a good weekend as well. Let's get started. It says here why every person in America needs to become a prepper during the second half of 2020. I hope that this article makes it out to a lot of people that aren't prepping. It has been on my heart to write this article for a few days, but I knew that it wouldn't be easy to write. 2020 has already been one of the worst years in modern U.S. history, and it looks like the next 6 months are going to be extremely challenging as well. But even though most Americans are expecting that this thing will return to normal in 2021 and beyond, the truth is that the perfect storm that we are witnessing is only at the very early stages. All of the old cycles are ending. All of the bubbles are bursting, and we are starting to experience the consequences of decades of incredibly foolish decisions. So even though the remaining months of 2020 will be chaotic, the truth is that things are going to get progressively worse as the years move along. Like I said on my last video, ladies and gentlemen, this is only starting. This is only beginning. If you're listening to this and you're not prepping yet, you still have time to prep. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have time to prep. Those of us that are already prepared, just continue to add to your stocks and, more importantly, fill in whatever gaps you may have in your preps. That means that you should use this period of time to prepare for what is ahead of us, because at some point, the window of opportunity to prepare will be closed for good. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. At some point, it's not going to matter when you decide to get that insurance, because there will be a day where the insurance won't be available. You'll just be getting stuff to try to survive day by day. So prep now. This crisis we've been going through should have been a wake-up call for all of us. Lockdowns were implemented very suddenly, and shortages of key items began to happen. To this day, many retailers are still limiting the number of items you can buy in certain categories. Hopefully, this has helped people to understand that if you have not stocked up in advance, you may not be able to go out and get what you need when a major crisis strikes. During the initial stages of this pandemic, a lot of people ended up being stuck at home without enough supplies. In the event of a truly historic emergency, you can certainly survive without toilet paper. But if you run out of food, you could find yourself in big trouble quite quickly. The good news is that this crisis is not going to kill us all. About 500,000 people around the world have died so far, and the final death toll will be a lot lower than the tens of millions that died during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1920. But if our society was extremely ill-prepared for a crisis of this nature, what is going to happen when it returns and it's more severe? Scientists assure us that it is just a matter of time before a killer plague sweeps across the planet. And the Bible tells us that there will be a pestilence in the last days. If you find yourself isolated at home for an extended period of time as millions of others are dying from the virus, you will be able to survive on what you have already stored up. Ladies and gentlemen, just stock up. If you're not as prepared as you want to be, stock up. Make a list of priorities in your life that you have to accomplish and see where preparedness leaves you. If you're not prepped, those other things that you want to accomplish, if the resources become unavailable and you're not prepped, you're not going to be able to accomplish them anyways. So preparedness should be at the top of your list. If not, you need to get to work, meaning if you're not stored up or stocked up. Big economic problems are ahead as well. So far in 2020, more than 47 million Americans have filed new claims for unemployment benefits. More than 100,000 businesses have permanently closed their doors. And it is being projected that U.S. GDP will decline by 46.6% on a year-to-year basis during the second quarter. Those are absolutely disastrous numbers, but so far trillions of dollars of emergency government spending has helped to ease the pain. Well, I wouldn't really say that. I wouldn't say that it's helped to ease the pain. When they're giving trillions of dollars to bail these places out that were not very responsible in doing what they had to do for their company, doing the right thing, and then they give the average person on the street $1,200. I don't think that's really easing the pain very much. To me, that's a slap in the face, to tell you the truth. But those emergency measures were only meant to get us through a few months, and it is now becoming clear that this new economic depression will be with us for a very long time to come. Of course, deteriorating economic conditions will fuel even more civil unrest. We have seen rioting, looting, arson, and violence in city after city, and much more civil unrest is on the horizon. If you live in one of our major urban areas, you may want to move while you still can. Populated areas, ladies and gentlemen, may become pretty sketchy in the future. So, of course, I'm sure that there are a lot of people that are not able to move from where they are if they live in a populated area. However, do your own research on how you can defend yourselves and your property. There's things you can do. Bar the windows, have extra plywood on hand with screws on hand in case you have to board up your windows and your doors, 2x4s to board up your doors from the inside. A lot of things that you can do to at least help yourself. It's not going to help you from really bad things, like people throwing, objects that have fuel in them towards your house or stuff like that. And I'm not trying to scare anyone, ladies and gentlemen, but it's happening now. It's actually happening now. So just do the best that you can to prepare yourselves if you're not able to move out of a populated area. Community, I think, is a big deal. Especially if you live in a populated area, community is a big deal. Let's see. If you live in one of these major urban areas, you may want to move while you still can. Due to a huge surge in demand, property prices in most desirable small towns and rural areas are already starting to go through the roof. On top of everything else, food shortages are starting to occur all over the globe. According to the head of the UN, we are on the verge of seeing unimaginable devastation and suffering from around the world. The UN chief said on Thursday warned the largest gathering of world leaders since the pandemic began that it will cause unimaginable devastation and suffering around the world, with historic levels of hunger and famine and up to 1.6 billion people unable to earn a living unless action is taken now. I'm not sure what action he or she is talking about, but I consider that 1.6 billion people kind of a low number as far as unable to earn a living. And I think what they mean by unable to earn a living is that they can barely earn enough to feed themselves as well. Here's the other point. Yeah, I was going to cover this too, but they got it here in this article. Giant swarms of locusts the size of major cities are devouring crops in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. African swine fever has already killed about 1/4 of all the pigs in the entire world, and crazy weather patterns have been playing havoc with crop productions all over the planet. And now, on top of everything else, this health crisis is greatly disrupting food distribution systems all over the world. We have never seen so many severe threats to global food production occur simultaneously, and the Bible clearly tells us that there will be famine in the last days. Meanwhile, a major war could erupt in the Middle East at any moment. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he will begin the process of annexing portions of Judea and Samaria in July, and Israel's Arab neighbors have promised a very forceful response if that actually happens. The region has constantly been on the precipice of war for years, and this could potentially be the trigger that finally causes it to happen. And in addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if you guys have heard about the scuffles that China and India have had as of lately, where I guess there was like 27 Indian soldiers that lost their lives due to rocks. They were fighting with rocks and 27 Indian soldiers lost their lives. If everything that I have discussed so far wasn't enough, the planet that we all live on is becoming increasingly unstable. We have witnessed a number of very alarming earthquakes this week, and a truly catastrophic event could literally happen at any moment. As my regular readers already know, I'm particularly concerned about seismic activity on the West Coast and about the potential for a historic earthquake along the New Madrid fault line. But even considering everything that I have just shared with you, there is no other time in human history that I would have rather been alive than right now. I have to say that I agree with most of this article, ladies and gentlemen. And the main point is that if you're not prepping, the time to start prepping is right now. Right now, ladies and gentlemen. If this video reaches out to one person and allows that one person, and that could be you listening to this, allows you to at least do a little more research on some of the things that have been covered on this article. Crisis that's going on, interrupting our food supply, the locusts, the interactions that are negative interactions between countries. All of these things, when put together, all of the things that are happening, like Mexico just had a 7.4 earthquake here a few days ago. All of these seismic events that are happening, earthquakes, volcanoes, erratic weather patterns. You go from one extreme to the other. Some areas, I forgot what country it was, that a few months ago they had a 100-year drought, and here just a few days ago they had a 200-year flood. It's all of these things, when they all get put together and start to occur, during the same time, it's the perfect storm. The perfect storm, and I don't know what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, but I know that whatever happens, I have the basic needs that I need for my family to survive for an extended period of time. How long would that time be for you? That's on you. I think I read a comment the other day that someone asked, how long should I prep for? That's on you. I cannot tell you how long you should prep for. Me, I personally think that you should be prepared for at least 1 year. 1 year of sustenance, meaning those things that you need in order to survive, in order to sustain life. If you take it to the financial side, I would say anywhere between 3 to 6 months of paying all your bills is a reserve that would be pretty good to have if you're able to do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and call it good for today. I hope you guys have a good Monday, happy Monday, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. So remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper. I am out.